So from time to time, I will give out these adult permission slips about resting, giving yourself some time to rest. And I started doing this for my clients when I realized that for so many of us, it's really hard to actually rest. So it's really interesting because every time that I put one of these out on Instagram, I get a couple comments of like, oh man, I wish, right? Or like, so nice that you can rest, but not me, with a couple different reasons, like kids, I mean, right now people are like, literally heroes, like homeschooling and working and doing all this crazy stuff, right? Sometimes work, maybe working 2 jobs, things like that. So, while I totally appreciate the circumstances that we may find ourselves in our inability to rest, as a coach, for me, it gives an opportunity to get really curious about resistance. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. So, firstly, even just thinking of rest, and it's really interesting, like, we oftentimes think that rest has to be a vacation. Rest is synonymous with vacation. So sometimes when people are like, yeah, right, I wish, or like, that sounds nice, but like for other people, but not for me, right? We think of it as, in order to rest, we have to have a vacation from our lives. And what I want to introduce is that rest does not mean that you have to lounge around all day in your bathrobe without lifting a finger. It doesn't have to mean that you stop taking care of your kids to be in a bubble bath all day long. It doesn't have to mean only in vacation, right? And this is where some of the confusion or resistance comes into play, because that's what we have defined rest as, is like a break from our day-to-day lives. So rest is really just moments of giving yourself care. So rest can come in 5 minutes of being quiet, of taking yourself away from a situation and consciously breathing. It can be in meditation. It can be small moments throughout our day where we give ourselves a little bit of care, we give ourselves a little bit of a rest. It can also be long days of lounging and doing nothing, right? Like whatever. But rest is really essential to our ability to thrive as human beings, really, because we are human beings. We are not machines. And somewhere along the line, we have equated ourselves with machines that we expect to just keep going and going and going, no matter all of the pressures we put on ourselves. So I would argue that if we are busy working 2 jobs or we're caring for a lot of people, we need those moments of rest even more. It's not like we need them less, we need them more. And so I just want to introduce that it doesn't have to be a full vacation. That's part of the thing that needs to change, is that we need to bring in this rest, these restful moments, these self-care moments into our life on a daily basis. So it's really interesting to look at some of these reasons why we might feel resistance. So as a coach, right, that's what I'm always kind of trained in, is when we feel like a little triggered or like, oh yeah, no, not for me or whatever, it's usually because there's some long-held beliefs, whether we're conscious or not of them, that have been at play for a long time. So these can be beliefs like rest is possible for other people, but not for me. I can't rest. I don't have time to rest, can be one. Resting is lazy, can be another one. Another really common one, and one that I have dealt with myself, is that, well, in order to really be worthy and productive and loved, I have to continually achieve. I have to do. So therefore, resting doesn't fit into that, because if I'm not doing, if I'm not achieving, if I'm not checking something off my box, if I'm not active, then who am I? Is that okay? Right? So beliefs that in order to really be productive or to be worthy or anything, we can't rest because we have to do. So that is a really common one. And I've worked with hundreds of women and men dealing with autoimmune issues, and these beliefs come up so strongly. And this is why I care enough to challenge your resistance, is because I see so often that these beliefs, or this inability to rest or care for ourselves for whatever reason is true for us, is literally making us sick. It's making us sick. And so I care enough to push back on this a little bit, not to say, oh, that's okay, maybe rest in 10 years for you. Maybe rest when you quit your job. Maybe only just rest in your next vacation. I don't want to say that to you because I want to help you create a life that is healing, a day that is healing, a life you don't always feel like we need a vacation from. And this doesn't mean that we need to do big drastic things, but it's really understanding that as humans, we are not machines, that we do need this rest. And this is one of the most critical pillars of supporting not only autoimmune health, but whole person health. So once we kind of start to crack that with my clients, I begin to see what is possible and getting curious about what is possible. So not just staying in the place of, not for me, can't do that, can't rest. Well, do you have 1 minute? Maybe we start with that, and that's perfect, right? It's just getting the idea in our head that we do need to give ourselves care. We need to nourish ourselves. We need to give back to ourselves. We need to repair our bodies on a daily basis and create little moments in our day so that our day can feel healing. And I have been in a place where my life has not been healing, right? So it might be the experience of I'm drinking the bone broth and eating the kale and doing all this stuff, but I'm going as if treating my body like I am a machine. Not sleeping a ton, waking up really early, not giving myself moments in the day. This was me working at the hospital to a T. And it was impossible for me to really heal. I did my best. We all do our best at any given moment. But things start to unlock for us, and I see this with my clients as well, when we are able to understand how to build rest into our daily lives so that we get to the end of our day and we do not feel like a shell of a human, but we feel like we have some reserves. We feel like we gave to ourselves. So check the balance right now. Are you giving way, way, way more energy than you are receiving? Are you receiving it all? And sometimes when we check on this and see, the only time that we are receiving or the only energy giving thing we have is sleep. So we can understand why we might just be burning through the day and then crashing in sleep, and then burning through the day and crashing in sleep. And it isn't until we're able to really understand that and understand some of the beliefs and mindset behind why we might be doing that, because trust me, I know it's not simple. I have been there I'm still working through this, as if I have it all figured out. Still working through this, but once we can kind of start to see that, it really opens ourselves up to opportunities to care for ourselves in a really deep way and create a life and a day that is healing no matter your circumstances. No matter how many people you have to care for, no matter how many jobs you have, whatever it is, we have to find ways that you can take care of yourself, because that's how we're going to break that cycle. So we're going to build resilience for you, and ultimately it's how we learn to nourish and love ourselves and stop making ourselves sick. So I get it if it feels really challenging right now and feels really hard, and that's why I wanted to talk more about this, because I always get comments about it, and I get it. I would have been one of those people commenting yeah, cool, thanks lady on the internet for telling me I need to rest. You have no idea what's going on in my life right now. How can you tell me this? And if I took time to investigate that with curiosity, I would see that it came from deep beliefs that if I rested, if I stopped doing, then I wasn't achieving. Who was I? What did I even have left, right? So I say that with a lot of compassion and understanding and love, but I also push back against those with the same amount of compassion, understanding, and love, because I want you to create a life that feels healing. And this is a huge part of it. So I hope this resonates and this is helpful. And if you're at that place where rest doesn't feel achievable or doesn't feel like something for you, I am super happy to help and to talk more. I love guiding people through this because it's one of the keys to kind of unlocking health, really. So feel free to send me a message or reach out if you have any other questions. I am more than happy to help with this and to chat further. So you can always send me an email at info@christinatidwell.com or leave a message here and we can have a discussion, because just, knowing that you're not alone in this, that there's several other people who kind of feel the same way, and I really feel like I'm on a mission to help us, no matter where we are, give ourselves that care and give ourselves that healing.